morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's your girl ChucTayyy, and I am here with your RETV Sports Update. You can catch me here every Thursday talking junk and spitting facts. Before we get started, I would like to say a huge congratulations to the network. RETV this week has surpassed, or I guess met, I don't know the terminology, but it's been 1 year since RETV has launched. There are so many great programs, including this one, of course, right? I'm so happy to be a part of something so great and so special. I want to say congratulations to the founders, everybody in front of the camera, everybody behind the camera, editing, posting, advertising, sending out emails, whatever it is that you do, you are a part of this. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I hope that we can continue this journey for many more years, and 1 year is a super duper huge accomplishment. So congratulations to RETV, and I just wanted to get that out so that everybody knew in case you missed it. But that is super duper great, and again, I'm so glad to be invited into this space and given this program and this platform to do what I think I do a pretty good job at. So congratulations, RETV. Now, we have a lot of things to talk about, guys, and what we're going to start with is that geriatric mess that we saw on pay-per-view this weekend. First of all, if you actually pay for that sparring session, you should probably dispute that transaction with your bank. Here's why. The no knockout rule for the main event, because clearly we saw a 3-minute knockout prior to. What was that? I don't understand how you tell Mike Tyson he's not allowed to do the thing that we know Mike Tyson does outside of biting ears. So we basically just watched two grown, old, semi-in shape men hug on each other for like 30 or 45 minutes. I can't even remember. I started dozing off because it was boring. It was basically like watching them spar. It was practice. It was a warm-up. It was nothing. It was a waste. And I feel like fights should happen on East Coast time. Like, why is it that the people over here on this side of the country have to wait until almost midnight, and then people in LA and such get to just do normal regular things because everything is hosted over there? Like, y'all couldn't have did this at Madison Square Garden. I don't anyway, I was upset that I stayed up so late because one, Nate Robinson, all of 3 minutes of it, like, that was actually what I wanted to see, because I was still trying to figure out who told you that that's what you could do. Like, nobody, my brother said it best, y'all didn't take a page from the MJ Went to Play Baseball book. Like, just because you are an athlete doesn't mean you can go play other sports. Like, it's kind of like when people say you can't teach tall, right? And just because you are tall doesn't mean you're a good basketball player. Like, just because you can play a sport doesn't mean you can play all of the sports. Like, it's just, that's not always a thing. Like, is it a thing sometimes? Yes. Is it a thing in this case? No, because you got knocked out. And I was confused prior to it. I was super confused during it. And then 3 minutes later, I was just like, see, that's what you get. You got embarrassed. Embarrassed. Okay? That was stupid. But anyway, back to the main event. I've seen better fights on America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, it was just such a waste. So much build up to be let down. It just, I wanted it to be something I think everybody wanted. And then it ended in a draw. Like, I'm just throwing stuff in here. Ended in a draw. A draw. It was just a waste of everybody's time. It was just a waste. And I'm too old to know the rappers that were rapping prior to Snoop Dogg. And the one little boy was talking about everybody, if you're at home. Well, there was nobody where you were, so where else were we? At home. It just, the whole thing was, if you pay for that, I dispute it with your bank. It was terrible. Whole thing, trash. Throw it all away. 0 stars. I wouldn't recommend. Ghetto. Anyway, moving on. College basketball also started last week. I forgot I wasn't with you guys last week. Okay, so college basketball started last week. People haven't really been talking about it that much because everybody was waiting for the Steeler and Raven game to happen, even though it got pushed back twice, but we'll get back to that. But it is happening. it's happening, guys. That's honestly all I can say. I know as of Wednesday, Texas and UNC played, and Texas won, hitting a buzzer beater, but it was literally on during the Steeler game, so I didn't really watch it. But of course, it is back. We will closely monitor that as we kind of inch away from football into NBA and like traditional basketball season, if you will. So yeah, we'll be following that. Always updating stories. That's continuing. That was the word I was really trying to say. Continuing coverage on that. But speaking of basketball, the NBA is set to tip off in a few weeks, December the 22nd, which is obviously late by their standards. We would have been inching into that. But, you know, it is what it is because Corona is still a thing. And I'm going to try not to harp on my coronavirus horse this week, but that's probably not going to happen. Oh, well. So anyway, what is going on with the NBA? Well, unlike the NFL, they already have things in place. And I'm going to tell you what some of those things are. And I'm going to pull out my handy dandy phone just so that I don't say anything incorrect. So what it is looking at as of right now, and what at least the public knows according to ESPN, that if a player in the NBA is asymptomatic and tests positive for COVID, they are going to have to sit out for 10 days from the first positive test. They need to pass a cardiac screen, and then they will need to work out alone at the team facility for 2 or more days before being allowed to return to all team activities. And that is assuming that there are no issues with testing, having additional positive tests, so on and so forth. If a player is symptomatic with a positive test, he must sit out for 10 days until the symptoms subside, and then they will follow all of the other testing that asymptomatic players will have to follow. And then if there is a serious case of COVID up to and including going to the hospital, he will have to work out alone for 3 days rather than 2 before being cleared to return to team activity, assuming that, again, everything else pans out, all other tests are fine, no more positive COVID testing, those types of things. So basically, according to ESPN, what fans can expect is if a player tests positive, he will be unable to play for at least 2 weeks. If he continues to show symptoms, then, of course, the timeline will grow. Why am I telling you this? Because the NBA, although they did not have as much time as the NFL, is already putting things in place so that they don't spread COVID. Here I am on the COVID horse. Other things that they are doing, they have cut the season down by 10 games already. Like, they're already like, nah, you're not getting 82 games. You're going to get 72, maybe. Because the other thing they are doing is they are splitting the season into halves. So they're going to play 30 games, and then after those 30 games, assuming that none get canceled because of COVID, then they will release the other 30 games and just kind of see how they need to adjust it. The other thing that they are doing is they are doing baseball style scheduling. I literally did not know that had a term until like today. So baseball style scheduling is, I'm gonna just give you real life examples. When the Lakers play the Sixers, don't ask me why those are the 2 teams that popped in my head, but when the Lakers play the Sixers, instead of LA flying to Philly and then flying to wherever the next game is, they will play 2 consecutive games in Philly. And vice versa. Philly will play 2 consecutive games in LA when that time comes. And instead of everybody just flying around, you will stay wherever you are for 2 days and play those 2 games back to back. I think that's a smart idea. Let's just get it out of the way. We're already here. Let's just do it. And it makes sense as opposed to being on a plane, being around other people, hopping on another plane, being around more people, hopping on another plane. Like, let's just kind of take advantage of the things that we're doing, you know. And I know there are some things in football that are a little bit different, and, you know, perhaps they can't play 2 games back to back like that. I don't really see why not, but hey, I don't know. But again, guys, the point is, the NBA, who I feel like the season just ended. What was that, in August? Was it in August? It's December. I feel like the NBA, Nevertheless, they didn't have nearly as much time as the NFL to get these protocols in place. There are still a couple things that they're unsure of, like if they're going to let fans in to watch the games, what happens if a player breaks a protocol, so on and so forth. There's a couple of details that need to be ironed out, but there's a good structure here already. Good foundation. Studs are in place. That's all we can ask for. And here go Roger Goodell talking about, oh, it's always about medical and health and it's never about business. However, you literally let the Denver Broncos play with no quarterbacks. Let's just transition into football, guys. Because this is entirely crazy to me. Roger Goodell finds it remarkable. Like, what? That's the word he finds it remarkable that we have made it 12 of the 17 weeks without having to cancel games. But, like, who determines if the games are canceled, Roger? You do. You're the only person that's saying don't cancel the games. It's just you. Like, there's no reason why you should not have canceled games. Denver had no quarterbacks. None. Zero. Like, is that even fair? Is it even fair? No quarterbacks. And is it their fault? Yes, it is. And they got fined. All of the quarterbacks for Denver have been fined because they still don't know mask protocols and social distancing. But, like, you allowed that game to happen. And that doesn't make any sense to me. We have pushed this Steeler game back. It finally happened on Wednesday. And they won, and they're 11-0. And I'm really not even going to harp on it that much. But, like, they're 11-0, and that's the last time I'm going to say it. But you had to push it back from Sunday. And then I think it was pushed to Monday. Or was it pushed to Tuesday? I can't remember now because you just kept pushing it back. And then had the nerve on Wednesday to have the Sunday Night Football thing on the TV. I know that's not Roger's call, but that was funny to me at least. But you find it remarkable that we have made it so many weeks without canceling games when you're the one that has that big red button that says, oh, stop, think again. That doesn't make any sense, and it's about the health and it's not about business, but that's exactly what it's about because you should have canceled games like back, what was that, week 4 when like 60% of the Tennessee Titans had COVID? What do you mean? I think if I'm not mistaken, the Browns closed their facility today. Again, Denver had no quarterbacks last week. We pushed the Raven and Steeler game back because COVID was running rampant through Baltimore. What's remarkable about that? I think it's quite idiotic, to be honest. And the only thing that you can say that you did was you canceled the Pro Bowl. We don't care about that. The Pro Bowl literally serves no purpose to anyone's life. It doesn't matter who wins or loses because it doesn't reflect on their records or if they go to the Super Bowl. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, that, it's weird. That's suspicious. That's weird. Anyway, guys. Yeah. So remarkable things are happening in the NFL, and Roger Goodell just thinks he is God's greatest gift. I swear he does. He's terrible. Terrible. Like, you push the button that says, don't play, stop, danger. Oh, that was funny to me. All right. So walking into week 12 schedules, everything's just kind of in a blur because again, the Steelers and the Ravens played on Wednesday. Then the Steelers are going to turn around and play on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Now I can't remember because I have a lot of days floating around in my head, but yeah, so there's a lot of moving pieces. But again, for the 11-0 Steelers, okay, I swear that's the last time I'm going to say it. Rest of the season, with the exception of probably, I'm going to say the Buffalo games, looking kind of like a cakewalk. It's very stressful to be a Steeler fan, I'm not going to lie. But, we're doing it. It's getting done. And that's all we can say about that. Still looking like the rest of the season is going to go on as planned. Super Bowl is happening as far as we are concerned at its scheduled time. So unless, a whole team gets taken out, it's just going to be football season as usual, guys. So we are in what I call the trifecta. It is football, NBA, college basketball, bam, all in play. So the next couple weeks are going to be super fun. Because there's still a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, the NBA, I guess we'll flip back over to basketball since I got interrupted. I interrupted myself, but lots of stuff going on. We had the NBA draft. We had free agency. Chris Paul is in Phoenix. LeBron, surprisingly, has already signed his extension. 2 years, $85 million. Anthony Davis, the one that's on the clock, has yet to say anything. So it's looking a little interesting, guys. A little interesting. And then, of course, like I said, NBA tip off on December the 22nd. And it is the Nets and the Thunder. I think that's right. I think that's right. So we will see in a couple weeks. It is going to get real fun real fast, guys. So that is about it for me this week. Again, continuing coverage on all things sports. I am your girl ChucTayyy. You can catch me here every Thursday talking junk and spitting facts. See you later.